and welcome back to the Rugby Connection podcast, where we give you insights into the world of rugby union. I am joined here with Murray.
Yay! Hello.
How's your week been?
Been all right. It's been a bit weird actually watching club rugby win the Six Nations. I don't like it. I really don't like the break, Harv.
Yeah, I think I don't like the break either. 5 consecutive weeks. Don't let players go back to their clubs. I don't think any notable ones have.
No, because I think the noticeable ones that went back were Hart. So it's just like go back to your club, have a little look at. We'll have a look at you. Come back in if you're good.
Yeah, I think it's mostly just rehab and it's not like it used to be anyway. But anyway, please do stop the breaks because this is just ridiculous. Um, anyway, yeah, we're focusing on club rugby. Weirdly enough, we're actually wearing club gear this week. I've just realised.
Yes, happy
Uh,
accident. We didn't communicate that at all.
well, I was wearing this at rugby training anyway, so I mean,
I like a quarter zip, and this was the first one I picked up. That's my reasoning for it today. So there you go.
fair enough. I wish I picked up a club quarter zip. Anyway, there is some rugby to get through.
Yes.
If you've been keeping your eye on it, if you haven't, then
Why
oh, well,
not?
we're here to tell you about it.
Yeah.
Um, right. So, Friday night there were two games. Well, actually, I'll say we'll start off in the URC. Friday night there were two games. Edinburgh versus Zebre as our resident Edinburgh fan. How
Yeah.
would you how sum it up in one word? You beat them 24-19. Sum it up in one word how you felt about it.
Oh, lucky.
Lucky.
Yeah.
Did you watch the entire?
Genuinely. I was say yeah. Zebre all over us in the first half. We had no plan for attack. Our discipline was horrific, and then we kind of switched it, and Zebra's discipline kind of slipped off. And you're not stopping Dave Cherry on a maul, plain and simple. But I, I'm happy we got the win. But come on, we had internationals back. Like our back row was Jamie Ritchie, Hamish Watson, and Bill Mata. Come on, lads! Like we should absolutely trounce them. But you know what? Fair play, Zebra. Different beast at home and all that jazz. But the win's a win.
No, I
That's all.
suppose I suppose that you're disjointed as well. You know, club players haven't been there for a few weeks and
Yeah, yeah. I think that
playing.
was the big
You
thing.
know, watching a club game is so much more different to watching international. Like it feels like two different styles of rugby. It feels like two different plays. So I suppose the transition's going to be a little bit wary. But either way, I mean, you got the job done. You got the point. So
I'll take it. I'll take it.
um, also on Friday night
Ah,
was Munster Scarlets. Munster absolutely trounced the Scarlets away from home, 42-7. I
and
don't. Yeah.
I was going to sprinkle in the news because the sacked the head coach. Scarlett's head coach is gone.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, I don't think there's anything that we can really say on that. Saturday, there were 5 games. The Bulls beat the Lions in an all South African encounter, 25-10. That's three away in the first 3 games. All the away teams have won. I
yeah.
don't know why I've picked that up, but there you go. Leinster Benetton, first versus second, was going to be the game of the weekend.
No,
Leinster 47, Benetton 18.
I told
I'll
you.
I'll leave that. I mean, listen, we said that Leinster C team can probably beat anyone in the world. And if they're beating second in their own division, which is probably the second best league in Europe right now,
Yeah, okay.
it's yeah, it's just silly. Um, the Sharks lost to the Stormers, 25-21. Connacht very narrowly beat Cardiff, 16-12.
Yes.
Glasgow trounced the Dragons, 40-7. And Ospreys just edged
I
Ulster,
love how this. I
19
love how
to
this finished.
17. Um, I
Darren
mean,
with a beautiful drop goal for the win.
yeah, I mean, wow.
Although, and I'm confused by this. I don't know if it's just because the TV clock was wrong, but so the clock was red. Dan Edwards kicks a goal. I'm expecting the full time whistle. They kick off. Also kicked off. I was like, what's going on? So like Osprey's also just caught it and kicked it back out. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I mean, did it hit the red beforehand, or did it hit the red as he
No,
scored it?
I'm pretty sure it was like 81 minutes in.
I've got 80 here, but obviously Flash Scores doesn't really
Yeah, yeah.
show the full detail. Either way, I mean, fair play to Ospreys. It's a very nitty gritty game. Ulster are very tough opponents. Yeah,
Love it. No, it was a clean drop goal. Like as soon as it hit off his foot, you seen it. I'm like, oh, all day, every day. Yes, please. That's going in.
just no he's slotting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose there wasn't too much spicy in the URC this week. Just business
Not
as
really.
usual, I suppose.
Friend of the show, Ben Afshar, got his first Glasgow start and ended it in style with his first try for the club as well. So well done,
Well,
Ben.
there you go. I'll quickly just touch upon some of the other rugby that's been going on. Before we get into predictions, that is. Um, Premiership Rugby Cup, which proved quite
Yeah.
successful at the start of the year with the championship sides.
Hmm.
In its semi-final stage, Gloucester played Exeter Chiefs.
No,
Gloucester
no, no.
were by far the better team. I'm sorry, Murray.
No, they were. You're right. By the
I think
way, how good is Zach Mercer?
well, I'm sorry, Borthwick. Please look back at him. I know that our back row is very good at the moment. We're having a fair bit of a headache, but that man should be in conversation. Like, add him to the headache.
Yeah. Actually, I've been given the headache as well because I commented. I did a video saying like, look, I don't know what you're thinking. Get him in the England team.
Honestly, I
People
mean,
were, and people were commenting like, can he not play for Scotland? I'm like, no. But then I've got other people saying that he might be able to. So if you don't know, Zach Mercer basically did his whole education up in Scotland. Played for Scotland under 16s, Scotland under 18s, and then went and signed for Bath, played for England under 20s, got picked by England, bugger up to, yeah, right? So folk like, because he was like playing for 10 years in Scottish rugby, he's eligible, like, but he's not because neither of his parents are from Scotland and neither of his grandparents are from Scotland,
I
to my
don't
knowledge, anyway.
I don't really know how nationality works in the UK because I
British,
suppose it's all
yeah.
British passports, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's something that's quite confusing to me. I don't know if he's eligible or not. I just want to see him play for England. I think that's basically
To
we
my
had him,
knowledge,
we lost him,
he's not eligible. Yeah.
we lost him, we need him back.
He signed back to the Prem on a broken promise. Just like that. Just remember that.
Yeah, but who was it? Was it Borthwick's promise?
No, it's not Borthwick's problem. It's an Eddie Jones problem because he basically went, "Mate, I want you in that World Cup squad." Obviously, Eddie then gets banned because it wasn't going to plan. So then, by the time it actually comes round, Borthwick's like, "No, no, this is my idea."
Yeah, but at the same time, Borthwick, look back at the Prem. You've got tons of Prem experience. You know you did know the Premiership inside out. Please just look back at this guy.
Please.
Yeah. So Gloucester beat Exeter, pretty convincingly. I mean, Exeter
Wasn't
won.
conventional. It was 3 points.
Yeah, but I mean, Exeter won the second half, but at the same time, like,
They narrowly choked though. Gloucester they could have
yeah,
choked.
I was going to say it was a tale of two halves. The first half was just better for Gloucester.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then the game that I was most excited to
Mm.
in the semi-finals was Ealing versus Leicester Tigers. Ealing obviously putting the championship on the map in a pretty tough year for the championship. Obviously losing Jersey Reds, who won the championship last year. There are a lot of teams who are quite surprising, quite prominent in this competition. A few upsets, but Ealing were the only team to make it through to the playoffs, and they fought valiantly, and they lost by 8, 29-21. But I think, yeah, you've got to give it to Ealing. I mean,
Oh
wow.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, I
I
want to
mean,
give a bit of praise to Tigers, more specifically Phil Singer. The
hmm,
interception that eventually won them the game. Oh, and now somebody's also gave me the idea that so to get Joe into the England team again, don't have him as a winger, have him as a centre because he would just run through everyone. And I'm like, oh, I kind of like it. But yeah, Phil Singer was great. Leicester Tigers dug down deep because obviously on paper you're expecting Leicester to just run away with it, but Ewan said no.
no. And I will say though, Ealing had a Premiership quality squad.
Mm.
They'd obviously nabbed a few players when some of the clubs went under. Um, I mean, just to name a few, you had Will Goodrick Clark, Billy Twelvetrees. I mean, those are not just those are not just random names.
Lloyd Williams, former Cardiff Blues
There.
legend on the bench. It's good. Very
I
good.
mean,
I want to see more of Ewan. I do.
I want to see more of Ealing, and you know how I feel. I'm not going to say it again. Bring back promotion and relegate, or just bring back promotion. Like we don't even need to relegate anyone. Just bring the numbers up.
Yeah, if you start relegating, it becomes a very tricky situation again. So don't.
No, exactly. See what they're doing in other leagues and just copy, please.
Yeah, pretty much.
Um, but yeah, Premiership Rugby Cup, very, very good. It'll be a Gloucester Leicester final, I believe, probably in Leicester because they got a higher
That's a
capacity.
Kings. That's a
Huh?
Kings home.
The
Yeah,
King's
Kings
one.
home. Yeah, Gloucester host the final.
Well,
You'd
very.
imagine. You'd imagine they'd win it then.
Yeah, I mean, Kingsholm is a fair bit of a
Not.
fortress.
Yeah, it's not easy. They
No,
especially if that shed is full.
they're both teams that like thrive on home attendance.
Oh
They've
yeah, absolutely.
they've both got really passionate crowds. Anyway, we'll move over to other rugby that we were watching. Obviously, keeping our eye on the second tier of international rugby, and that is the Rugby Europe Championship. Uh,
Yes.
we had the penultimate of the pool. We had the final of the pool stages. Sorry. Um, and this is what the picture looks like. So, on the Saturday, we had Georgia versus Spain, in which Georgia trounced Spain 38-3. Um, Belgium beat Poland 31-10, and Netherlands beat Germany 39-13 on the Sunday. Game I want to talk about though, obviously, my beloved Portugal beat Romania 49-24. It was looking like an incredible game. End to end, some beautiful tries being scored, especially by Portugal. They play wonderful rugby, and then 64th minute, they just pull the pin and go and go and go and go and go.
Yeah, I mean it's all over social media.
But this Portugal side are special. I think that they can give Georgia a game if they make it to the final. They obviously don't play Georgia in the final. Sorry, in the semi-final. How it is looking right now is Georgia play Romania and Portugal play Spain. I suppose that's a bit of a international derby, I suppose.
Oh yeah, Portugal Spain. I was like, wait, what? How? But no, you're right. It is.
No. Yeah. And hopefully on finals day in Paris, Georgia, Portugal final. This is what I'm backing, and Portugal win it at the death.
I don't hate it.
I think that we've talked so long about Georgia being, needing more coverage, needing more international exposure to top level rugby. Bring Portugal there as well. Both their
Yeah,
under 18s, both their under 18s have been invited to the Six Nations Festival, which I
yep.
suppose is now the Eight Nations. Um,
And Portugal's playing England A next week. Well, this weekend, sorry.
yeah, well there you go. Um, it's only going from strength to strength,
Nice.
second tier rugby. Hopefully we can see the gap bridge soon.
Hmm.
Right. I believe that's all the rugby that we have from this week. We'll look at predictions.
Yes, we've got
Well,
everyone's neutral tournament. Super Rugby returns this week.
yep. And of course, the Six Nations.
We'll just do
So
Super Rugby really first, or and then like proper talk about Six
yeah,
Nations.
we'll rattle off Super Rugby. We'll
No.
quickly just blast through that. There's six fixtures. Three on Friday and three on Saturday. Chiefs Crusaders in the opener.
Last year's final starts us off strong. I'm going for the Chiefs because it's the first campaign for the Crusaders without Scott Robertson in charge. There you go.
I see where you're coming.
They've lost a lot of players as well. Sorry.
They have lost a lot of players. I believe Will Jordan's out for like the whole tournament.
Will John's
That's
out
just
for the
come out
whole
today.
campaign. With him
Um,
alive in Japan.
well,
Yeah.
I see where you're coming from. I think it will still be a tightly contested game. Crusaders are a good unit.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll have very well drilled structure. It's just they're missing maybe a little bit of star power. I reckon it will be Chiefs by about 3.
I'll go Chiefs by 6. Yeah.
Okay. Next up, we have the Rebels versus the Brumbies.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what to
Um,
think about rugby Australian teams right now.
no, I've got the odds here anyway. The Brumbies are our favourites, 4-9 against the Rebels, 15-8 on Bet365. That is, so it's safe to say the Brumbies are going in as favourites. I'm not really sure what the structure looks like right now.
Brumbies by 12? Sure. Okay, why not?
Yeah, Brumbies by 15 be different.
Definitely.
Right, next up we have the Western Force versus the Hurricanes.
Aha. That's going to be Canes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hurricane 20.
Hurricanes by 18.
Okay.
Next up at GMT 3:35 a.m. on Saturday morning. This is one for when you get back from the night out.
Yes.
Blues versus Fijian Drua.
I
I,
love the draw, but
yeah.
Blues are,
I'm sorry, Blues are absolutely smacking them.
yeah.
Blues by 32.
I'm going to be nicer. I'm going to say Blues by 17.
And you have to be nice, don't you?
Not always. I got stick for it last week, but anyway, don't worry about it.
Next we have the Highlanders versus the Moana Pacifica.
Highlanders, 3 for 3 in pre-season.
Yeah, I was
I know
about
it's
to
been
say
pre-season, but come on
Highlanders
now.
are looking very good. They've got a pretty well drilled squad.
Technically, just a fun one. Is that meant to be like the RCP team for Super Rugby? Because we have got two lads that represent the Highlanders compared to
Well,
just the one.
I've always adopted the Highlanders as a bit of a Super Rugby team. So you know my feelings there. Anyway, Landers by 25.
I'm going to go Landers by 10 because Moana Pacifica have drafted in some absolute banging signings. Like they've got Julian Savea as well now. So just saying.
Anyway, and finally, at the most respectable 9:05 a.m., the Reds are playing the Waratahs.
This used to be a really good game.
This used to bang. I'm sorry, Australian teams, you fell off.
Yeah. Some people blame it said it's since Izzy Folau left. I don't know how you can blame it on one player, but
No, Australia
sure.
had so many other players.
I mean, just because they're at home, I'll go for the Reds by 8, and I'm not even like remotely convinced, but it's
They're
fine.
they're pretty favourable. I'm gonna go Reds by 17.
Nah, fair.
So Anyway, that's your very deep insight into Super Rugby. Of course, a new weekend means the return of the Six Nations.
For
This
one
is
week.
this is probably the meatiest part of this episode.
This is where the juice comes from. This is what you want.
Yeah, I don't even know where I was going with that.
Right, I just sat like this, but it's fine.
You're not holding a ball bag. Right. So, first up on the agenda, we have Ireland at home to Wales.
Uh-huh.
I
This used to be an absolute class battle.
I've just seen the odds
Go on then.
at Bet365. You cannot bet on Ireland to win.
Why not?
You're not allowed to bet on Ireland to win because it's that guaranteed. They are Wales are 12-1 to win.
Take those odds. I like that. I'm not going to bet. I'm not that stupid.
I think we'll address this now. This will be an Irish victory.
Yeah.
A pretty stinking one too, because I just think that
I think Wales are too inexperienced for this Irish team.
Wales are too inexperienced. They haven't got everything sorted out.
No.
Um, I mean, we've seen from the first two games that they've shown signs of brilliance. I mean, it was two very tight games. They're only, I think they've got like a points differential of -3 or something like that after two games. You know, ran England close in quite a scrappy affair, which it always is. And then
Uh,
obviously nearly came back against Scotland. This Wales side do have something, but I
they do.
think when you have a side like England that are also in transition, um, they're going to make mistakes. Scotland probably just
Slipped off, yeah. Shut
slipped
up.
up.
I'm talking about it.
It's the same story as 2019 Calcutta Cup. Um, but yeah, I just think that Wales just don't have it. Like
They won't
against
get there.
this is their biggest test so far. Like Ireland Ireland are still favourites to win the tournament, and
Yeah.
they've showed no signs of weaknesses so far.
Ireland are going to make next to zero mistakes. Um, Joe McCarthy is like the second coming of Paul O'Connell. Our friend Ollie Jaeger is now officially in the squad. If you don't know who Ollie Jaeger is, if you've just seen him play at Munster this season, you have missed out. This boy is a natural born winner. He won. He was in Crusaders for 7 years. He won the Super Rugby title 7 times. He is a natural born winner. As in his DNA, he's come back home, and I don't even know if he's going to get in the squad, but I really want to see it. He is fantastic. I might even argue that he could push furlong for the starting jersey.
Hmm.
That's how good I think he is. People,
Okay.
that's just a personal thing from what I've seen of him. But like McCarthy's playing great. Jaeger's in the squad. Obviously, you've got Bale and you've got Furlong. Andrew Porter playing some of his best rugby. Dan Sheehan, we spoke about him in depth last week because he's just a different level. The biggest issue going into this game, and it's not even a big issue. This is how mental this Ireland team is. Hugo Keenan might not play because of a niggle. So you might get Kieran Frawley at fullback. Oh no. Oh dear. Like Kieran Frawley's epic. He's got a hell of a monster built on him. He's comfy under the high ball.
This Scotland, Ireland. I think my brain just slipped. I was already thinking about the next game. Yeah, this Ireland squad is stacked, and it's the same thing as Leinster. Their C team could probably beat Wales. I think that
Well drilled, well
they're, go-
organised
they're
team.
going to be so strong. Wales might push them in the first half, and then Wales will start making mistakes. They'll have the fresh legs who are ultimately so much better. They'll have the squad depth, and I think they'll just push them in the second half.
You know what the best bit about it all is, Harv? Young Stevie that did Ireland's call last week. He's doing it again this week. Yes.
Yes.
even
No,
though we clicked
I
and calling it the national anthem.
nah,
That did not go down well on TikTok.
no, I understand Irish people's
I apologise. We fixed it. So it is the national anthem of the rugby, the national rugby anthem. No, shut up. What did I say? Rugby anthem of the national team. There you go.
rugby team. Yeah, it's not the national anthem.
I like it though. But anyway,
I
Ireland.
I think we're on the Veens better, but I mean, I suppose they're doing it to appeal to both sides. Anyway,
Ireland by. Uh-huh. Um,
don't do it. Don't do it.
Ireland by 38. I don't know
Well,
why I had
you know what's the worst part about that?
true.
I was only three. I was only 5 points behind you. I said Ireland by 33 in my head.
There we go.
Um, Listen, I just, in the nicest way possible, I don't give Wales a hope.
No. But
Um,
I'll go with it. Prove us wrong.
yeah. Listen, if they come out, surprise us, even go down fighting, then 100% we'll give it to them. Right.
We're
I
not friends anymore. We're not friends anymore.
this is where you make most of the views from TikTok clips. Scotland, England, Calcutta Cup.
Oh yes.
Scotland have the last three.
Uh-huh. Yes, we're going for the four-peat.
Last time we won a Calcutta Cup was in Edinburgh, in 2020.
It was a ridiculously wet and windy day that sucked
And
ass.
and what Test rugby should be about. Anyway, yeah, you just go on with Scotland. I'm gonna listen to you and ignore all of it.
Well, we're pulling no punches for you boys because Hamish Watson's returned to the squad. Blair Kinghorn's back from injury. It's just VP Nail's back. I know he's older, but like solid, and he's a solid scrummager, and that's really all you need VP Nail for. This we have said this the last two rounds. You need that Scotland need a statement win, and you know what? Let's do it over England. It's probably not. It's going to be a tight game. It's always a close encounter, and there's always that magic moment like last year with Duhan running it from 60. The fact that you have a slightly inexperienced side this year, I think Finn Russell could have a field day with it. Personally. But I mean you've got two I'd like to think Steve Borthwick would pick the returning Ollie Lawrence and Ben Spencer in that team. So they would also know how to mark down on Finn, potentially. But yeah, I mean I really want to win it. I know that we've evolved and it's not just beat England and you can lose the rest. But the big game for me every year is still England. And I'm going to be there loud and proud. And if there's a football legend behind me, I will notice it this time.
I hear you, Mark. I hear you. I think you're chatting absolute shit.
Piss off. All
um,
of them.
from an England perspective, it's a bit worrying. We have no Alex Mitchell. He seems to have done something to his ACL. Obviously, with the return of Ben Spencer, hopefully that's experience inside. I think with Wales, it just got a bit shaky. I don't think we turned on as quick. But for a game like Scotland, it's always a fixture that lads got circled in their calendars.
Yeah, it's,
So,
it's embedded. Like me and Harv get on, but I know that it does run ridiculously deep for some people. Which I get. I understand it. I know it's a rivalry
I wouldn't say we get on. I think we tolerate each other.
until this weekend. But no, it's going to be a good game.
I
I
just think
don't want,
that,
I
I,
don't want us to
huh?
underestimate you boys
Yeah,
because that's how you lose games. Is if you
I,
underestimate. Teams.
I just know that I don't think we can let what happened with Wales happen again in the way that we've got to switch on from minute zero.
Yep.
We've got to switch on. We've got to. I mean, lads will be raring to go. Um, Lads will be in there, full arm swinging, not rugby league style, if you've seen from the weekend. But I mean, this is the game that we'll want to win the most, and probably a statement game now
Mm.
if we beat them in any way, because we've lost 3 times on the bounce,
Yes.
and it's not just and in the Six Nations, these away wins are the ones that make it better. Doing it in enemy territory, England have been not a laughing stock, but have been embarrassing really for the last few years. Um, and I think that the way you turn fans back on your side is by getting probably the biggest win in the Six Nations this year that you can get,
It's fair.
and that's just the way I see it. And I think
No,
that
no, I agree.
I
That's
I
that's
think I
very
think
good.
it's more I think it's more than possible. We're not going in as favourites, and
Yeah, I think now. So we took the foot off against Wales. Controversial, whatever, against France. We've still not had that statement. We've not had that hit them for 80 and essentially blow you off the park. We've not had that yet. So I'm hoping we do it now. Just go for it. Stay in control. Don't let the mind slip. Don't get ahead of yourselves. And let's have a four-peat. Let's keep the Calcutta Cup up in Edinburgh because I am going Scotland by 12. Fuck you. I love you, really. Sorry.
I think I think that we can do it. Like, I'm not going to say we can't. It's going to be tight. It's going to be
Yeah.
really tight.
Uh-huh.
England by 5.
May the best man. Is the wager on? No.
No, because I'm not at home, so I don't have my shirt with me. I'm very sorry, Murray.
He's not. He's done this on purpose.
No, I didn't even expect I'd be back on this podcast before when I was
Uh-huh.
last home.
Fair enough. I'll let you off then. So yeah,
Okay.
we're not friends right now, but it's all good because we've still got one more game.
We're friends now that we're talking about this game. Yeah, France Italy. Uh,
France,
France France Italy. I mean, this was a game that has gone down to the wire a few times in the last year.
just the last year. We've only played once.
Was it last 2 then? Because they
It's, it's
Italy
very.
shows that year as well.
It's such a weird fixture because France. You expect France to just run Italy off the park, but then Italy just kind of go, no.
I think the one thing that plays into France's hands the most, and why I think it'll probably look more convincing than it will be, is home crowd support.
Oh yeah, those French crowds is
Yeah,
fun.
French fans are crazy, Italian fans are crazy, but so it plays so much into their favors. I think France are, despite a few shakes,
Mhm.
they're gonna want to, put a few points on Italy and say, right, we're still in it to win it.
Oh yeah,
because because oh,
but
because Ireland's job's not done. I mean, so they believe that they can still go out and win this tournament. So I think they just need to put this statement win on Italy. You know, Italy on Italy aren't the whipping boys that they were for so many years now. Like, Italy can come and play. If they catch you on a bad day, then that could potentially mean losing.
yeah, yeah.
So
I
I
just
just
can't. I can't think because there's reports coming out now that the French team is very unsettled. That Fabien Galtier is very hard to work with. He's been getting a lot of stick because of not winning the World Cup.
I think the
Yeah,
the World Cup thing's a bit it's stingy, especially because it was a home World Cup. I think a lot of people were backing France to win the World Cup. I certainly was.
yeah.
Um, so it's obviously difficult in that regard because French fans have a lot of expectation now. They are one of, if not the best side in the world.
Mhm.
So obviously it's gonna be a hard beat to outplay them. Um, but with all this pressure, with all of this, DuPont's obviously gone. He's playing his first sevens tournament, I think, either this next weekend or the weekend
No,
after that.
this weekend coming, Vancouver Sevens, Anton
But
Dupont is there.
well, there you go. Yeah, this French squad they've had a bit of a shake. I still see no reason why they can't win all the rest of their games.
Yeah, no,
But
yeah, that's fair.
yeah, Italy have
I
to catch
just
them on a bad
really,
day.
I just really want Italy to do well.
I want
I've
Italy
said
to
this
do
for so
well.
long, but
They're still Italy is still play Scotland, so they can win that one.
oh, shut up. um, I don't know. Like, I'm going to say France by 8 is my prediction. I'm not convinced by saying that though.
I'm still going France by 16. I just think that France have so much more than Italy, and even if they catch them on a bad day, I just think that France's resources, their players, it man to man, they're better than Italy.
Are we going to see an electric debut though for the Azzurri in Lewis Liner? Because that came around quick. We spoke about it
Oh
for like
God, yeah,
for next year. That he's leaving Quins at the end of this season to sign for Benetton in
yeah.
pursuit
No, that caught me
of
off
an Olympic
guard.
career. And then Italian rugby said, "No, he's in the squad now." So then, question is, and I said, "Why didn't you just do that anyway?"
Yeah, I don't know. Lewis Lineker had a different dynamic, obviously to all the electric, all the electric players in the backline for Italy already. But again, it's just about gelling into the system. He's coming into a test team. He hasn't had that much international experience, if any. So, it's a whole different game. We talked about this earlier. I don't think that he'll do too much on debut, but I think that'll just be settling in. I don't expect much from him in the nicest way possible. Like
I'm
with
trying to
those,
think. I'm trying to think of the strongest backline that Italy can go for. So it would be Stephen Varney, probably, at 9. Probably your BC. Tommaso Menicello, because he's one of my favourite. I really like it, Menicello. Uh,
13
Brexton 13.
like
Monioane in the 11.
Lewis Liner and then
So
Bitzer. Yeah,
see,
that'd be
that was a good team. But
that is a
then
good team. That's a good team, but I think it just
but
needs.
then you go against like I'm gonna say
But they're
Ligeti.
going against Peno, Fiku, Thomas Ramos.
Yeah.
Like that's such a hard task. I
Bayabari, who's like
Yeah.
21 years old and
Listen, I'm sorry, Italy, but it's gonna be a hard beat. Um, but yeah, that is Six Nations for next week.
yeah,
Obviously, a few things to note
sorry,
for
did the boys put in their predictions just quickly?
I didn't say.
I think if I can remember correctly, Cam had Ireland, Scotland, and France to win, and he had Scotland by 2. Marcello had Scotland and England draw, which is illegal on RCP. You don't go for a draw.
Apart from that time he said 0-0 draw between like Zebra and Benetton.
That's before Benetton looked good though.
Uh,
And I think he said like France by 4 or something. So he's thinking it's gonna be there. You go, be the Italian.
Italy bias. Anyway, obviously some things to note in the world of rugby. Because I have a very interesting news story. Oh, obviously I mentioned we said earlier that Dupont is making his debut for France Sevens.
Yeah,
You can obviously watch that on the World Rugby website.
rugby pass,
Um, huh?
rugby pass TV.
Or Rugby
So,
Plus TV.
so much easier. Anyway, continue.
There you go. Interesting news coming up the Premiership and something to do with my local team, the Newcastle Falcons.
Oh, I think I know what you're on about. I I think I do now.
Newcastle Falcons chairman was spotted on a plane and taking a photo with the same man that owns Newcastle United Football Club. Now, if you know anything about football, then you'll know Newcastle United have fallen into. They've inherited a little bit of money, which has
They
made
are
them.
rich beyond their beliefs.
They are by far the richest football club in the world. Um,
Oh,
the chairman of Newcastle Falcons has met with the Saudi Pro Fund chairman and
so,
has potentially struck a deal to invest in Newcastle Falcons.
yeah, let's go.
I'm
To go for it. I'm
I'm
all for it.
really I think having
Are
having
you
both
actually against it?
having both no this I've got like a devil and angel on my shoulder at the moment.
Okay.
The angel was telling me, Saudi money, oil money, sports washing, all this kind of stuff. Um, with the money they've put into football, golf, Formula One, and it's almost too much. It's going into places and it's basically ruining the sport or whatever. Um, I don't think that's what it'll be like with rugby, but I think that people will be wary of what it could become.
I
Um, but the devil's telling me you've got you've got an owner investing in two different sports clubs in the same area.
Yep.
Does that strike where um where where sports fans in Newcastle can be aware of both, can go to both? Maybe there's a link between the two clubs. Maybe
Yeah.
more Falcons games are held at St James's Park. You've got to think of it in that way. And
I'm thinking
if
more
you
just like
think about if you think about teams that are linked by town, because obviously where I am in London, there's an abundance of sports teams in so many different sports. You don't have that partnership.
yeah.
But in smaller towns, you see links between like Northampton Saints and Northampton Town in the football, Wigan Athletic,
Actually,
Wigan,
yeah.
uh, Wigan Warriors and Wigan Athletic in rugby league and football.
Yep.
You see these links in these small towns, and where you've got one football club and one rugby club in Newcastle, which is a big city.
Yeah.
Um, is that potentially greater for not just Sporting Newcastle, but the Newcastle Falcons themselves? Um,
I think
it
just
really
go
does.
for it.
It really does beg the question, and I'd almost say, despite where the money's come from, you just got to take it. We've seen this day and age how cutthroat Premiership rugby is with
I
its
would, yeah,
money. How
yeah.
how stupid it is. I'm sorry, I will
I
criticize
was
them.
about to say, like, if you're thinking of all the morals behind the Saudi money, shut the fuck up. Not you have. I mean, in general,
It is.
we have lost three clubs, all with rich history. They're gone. They ain't coming back. So when somebody that has an endless supply of cash to pump into a team that was, let's be honest, Newcastle were on the brink of falling that way as well. Do it. Pump stupid money in. Throw endless money at it. Let's get
I
Bowden
think
Barrett
it's
in the Newcastle jersey. I don't care. Let's go for
I
it. Are
think
we
it's a bit.
bored?
I think it's a better investment because Newcastle Falcons are one of two clubs in Premiership Rugby that have a huge catchment area.
Yeah,
There's, now that I'm up in the northeast, there's less rugby here than there is back at home. Um, I suppose it's the same for Sale Sharks as well, in the way that they're the only team in basically the whole region of the country.
yeah,
Um, that's what interests me the most is the fact that they have this huge catchment area. And if going to a Newcastle Falcons match can be an attractive prospect for people who aren't into rugby or loosely support them, loosely follow them, casuals,
yeah.
make it attractive, link it to the football club, deals, whatever. And, maybe this is all part of a bigger thing, where more clubs join up around this Newcastle area. I believe it happens in Bristol, All of them are quite interlinked between the football clubs, the rugby club, the basketball club. They're all quite interlinked. They're all quite a big community thing. They encourage to go to each other. And maybe you get a similar thing with Newcastle. You've got the Thunder Rugby League, you've got the Eagles basketball, which is all quite accessible. It's all quite fairly easy to get to and relatively low cost as well. So
it's a no-brainer. It sounds like a no-brainer to me.
it sounds like a no-brainer. And what I've seen is published, were photos actually taken by the chairman. They had to take them off Instagram like straight away, but it was basically a done deal photo, and whether Newcastle Falcons will release it in the next few days, I think that it means a good future, and I think that sometimes you have to throw out morals to go places, but Premiership Rugby is on its last legs, and if you can viably support the future of a team, then I think that it's a no-brainer for them.
Plus, who says it's just going to be in Newcastle?
Yeah, I
There was,
believe,
there was reports that were going to. I think they were looking at 3 clubs. They never identified which 3.
but obviously one of them was Newcastle.
One was Newcastle, but you could also you just look at the way certain clubs are now. You can kind of almost have a rough idea of who's.
No, of course, and rugby union still, I would say, in the top 5 sports in this country, um, in terms of participation numbers and viewing numbers.
Has to be
Well, yeah, I would think so.
football, rugby, league union. I'll just put that as one.
Cricket,
Tennis. Tennis is massive, like at school level.
yeah. Either way, it's
Yeah.
I would recommend by participation and viewing numbers together, it's around the top 5. So it's still a big sport in this country. People understand rugby to some degree. People, tune in to watch the Six Nations. If you can turn those rugby casuals into big fans, then Falcons have a bright future. And think about the way that they were when they were previously owned by the same man as Newcastle United back in the 90s.
They won it.
They won premierships.
Yeah. They won. They're the only team ever to get promoted and then win the Prem the following season.
There you go.
There you go. Just do it. Give the money to. Thing is, if any team deserves it, it's Newcastle. That's my last thought on it because,
Yeah,
you don't.
I suppose
Yeah,
I've developed a bit of soft spot for them. Obviously living up here in the northeast,
yeah.
it'd be nice to see the area have a big rugby team and have an attractive rugby team because we've obviously 2 very attractive football teams here. Well, not one not so attractive, and I am talking about Newcastle. But
Oh
but
my god.
yeah, sorry, it's Sunderland for me. Anyway, yeah, we've 2 very attractive football sides that people come and see, big attendances, and the sporting pedigree's there. It's a very passionate sports area, Tyne and Wear, and to get rugby involved in that would be huge. That's
Yeah,
that's my final thought.
there you go. Take the money. So to clarify, Stadia's going to own Newcastle, just the city of Newcastle at this point, and we're all for it. Scotland are going to win the Calcutta Cup for the 4th time in a row,
Okay, we're getting a bit delusional here now.
and France probably will win against Italy, and Ireland's just going to have an absolute field day against Wales.
And Portugal winning the.
Only different Portugal, of course, yes. And
Um,
there we go. Yeah.
yeah. Well, thank you very much for listening to us nattering on about this week of club rugby. We'd like to hear your thoughts and comments. Yeah, just let us know. You can follow us on our socials. We are Rugby Connection Podcast on TikTok, Instagram. I'm gonna say Twitter, but it's not very well. It's non-existent at this point. And also, you can follow me and Murray at our respective socials, Alan Harv and Blissful Rugby HQ. Thank you for watching or listening, and we hope you have a good week, and we'll see you next week. Thank you very much.